We believe that in the beginning, at the start of everything, before there was anything, that God was there. God is goodness and life, most of all, love. So before there was an animal or a tree or a cloud or a mountain or a solar system, God was there. And God is the one who made everything. And this perfect love, God created it all. Nothing was an accident. Every tree, every blade of grass, every rock, every rhino, every river, every planet, every single detail of the entire world and space was made by God, who is creative, loving, and good, and everything was absolutely perfect. And the first two people, they were good too. God made them to show love to everyone and everything, just like God loves everyone in all of creation. So they took care of the world God made for them to live in. Imagine a perfect world. Like no hunger, no pollution, no sadness, no anger, no hurt feelings. Everything was full of life. And people, you and me, we are God's favorite creation. But things didn't stay perfect. See, people, they started thinking that what they wanted was more important than what God wanted. They started disobeying God and choosing the opposite of love. So instead of treating each other with love, they were hurting each other and the world and God. And when people choose not to love, they mess stuff up. And so because people were choosing not to show love or to trust that God was good, our world became kind of a mess. But it wasn't just the first people who messed up. You and me, we're not 100% good and perfect all the time either, right? I mean, we've all messed up. We mess up when we're unfair to others or when we don't tell the truth and we lie. And because we've all messed up and because we're not perfect, we have hurt God's world and we have hurt others. We are not perfect at love all the time. I mean, we are a part of the mess. But because God loved you and me and all people, God had a plan to fix the mess, our mess. So here's the amazing thing that God did. God's Son became a human and came to our planet, our mess, a little over 2,000 years ago. And his name was Jesus. And Jesus was perfect. He never did anything wrong. Jesus showed us what love really looks like. He healed sick people. He helped poor people. Jesus taught us how to treat others. He taught us how to be patient and loving and kind. Jesus showed us how much God really loves us with a never-ending, never-stopping, no matter what kind of love. So Jesus said that the mess we had made and the way people were treating each other was all wrong and needed to change. This was not the way of love. This was not God's plan. But Jesus told his friends that he was going to change the world in 3 days. I mean, impossible, they thought. Like, how could Jesus change their messed up world in 3 days? But what Jesus was trying to tell them was that he was going to die, and that 3 days later, he was going to come back to life. Whoa, like so many questions, right? Like, why did Jesus have to die? And could Jesus even die? And wasn't there another way to fix the world? But there wasn't. Everything was a mess, and Jesus was the only one who could fix it. So Jesus, even though he had the power to stop them, he let the people in charge arrest him. And they nailed him to a cross, and he died. Perfect, good, loving Jesus died. And Jesus let it all happen so that he could take the punishment for all of the mess-ups, all the unloving, selfish acts that had hurt the world and people. Jesus took all of the punishment forever for my mess-ups and for yours. Jesus' friends were so sad when he died. So even though Jesus had told them that it was all a part of God's plan, they didn't understand. So they buried him in a cave. Jesus' friends thought that he was going to change everything. They thought he was going to make everything beautiful like the first garden. They thought that Jesus was going to fix everything for everyone. But now he was gone. Jesus' friends didn't remember what he said about how he had to die to set everything right. So 3 days later, they went to the cave, and guess what? They walked inside, and it was empty. The event of the universe had happened. Jesus wasn't in there. Jesus was alive. I mean, think about it. Jesus couldn't stay dead. Of course not. You can't stop God's love, and nothing would ever be the same. Jesus being alive was God's plan to fix our world, to fix us. God is creating and fixing and making all things good, even when everything seems messed up. God's love is everywhere. And because Jesus is alive, you can know that God loves you and wants to be with you forever.